Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Shri Gaura Priyamurtaye Srimate Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Namine Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Tadati Swapadantikam Vande Nanda Vrajastrinam Padarenum Abhikshna Ya Sangharikato Gita Punate Bhuvanataya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostu Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vrindayai Tulasi Devyai Priyayai Keshavasya Cha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavatai Namo Namah. I offer my innumerable prostrated obeisances to the lotus feet of my most beloved Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vallabh Tirtha Goswami Maharaj, and to all my Guru Vargas, and to all assembled devotees. And I pray for their causeless mercy so that I may be able to say some glorifications on Sri Sri Guru Varanga, Radha Krishna and Sri Vrindavan and Vraja-bhakti. Welcome, dear devotees, to today's webinar, and happy to see all of you again. So today, devotees have expressed that they feel a little bit worried sometimes about the happenings in our environment because there's a lot of disturbances going on due to climate change, etc. In Australia, most of you are living in Australia, you have had the wildfires, and so you have experienced the reactions very closely. And over here in India also, the climate has changed a lot. There's a lot of more heat records, flooding, and the farmers are struggling with the changes. They're losing a lot of crops. So today is also International World Environmental Day. So it seems to be like a good match to talk about nature and environment in relation to Radha Krishna Bhakti, Vraja-bhakti, and also our sadhana. So we want to spend today's webinar to talk about this relationship that we have with Mother Nature and how this is originating in Vrindavan, in Vraja-bhakti, why this is so important that we have this connection, not just for our survival, not just for our maintenance, not just to guarantee that there is ample supply of goods for us, but much deeper than that, we want to explore how Radha Krishna themselves are relating to Mother Earth. How Mother Earth is not just a machine that we can exploit, but she is even a person. And that person is worshipped by all the Vaishnavas. And also how Mother Earth is providing all the paraphernalia for the puja, the worship of Radha Krishna in Vrindavan. etc., etc. So we will touch on different aspects related to that and how that relationship, if it's healthy, can provide a healthy lifestyle and avoid all these terrible circumstances that we're living in right now. So just a short, brief summary of the happenings right now on this planet. I studied environmental science before, and I was teaching also. So I am very much concerned about what's happening on this globe right now as an environmental scientist, but also as a devotee, because if we continue like this, there's going to be terrible amounts of suffering for everyone, including the devotees, okay? So some devotees are still not fully agreeable on climate change, which is sad because it's a scientific fact. But even if you want to doubt that, that is your freedom. You cannot doubt the ecological collapse that we're facing right now across the globe in terms of ecosystem collapses. Now, what does this mean? This is actually the bigger problem we're facing. Ecosystem collapse means species going extinct entirely, such as a certain type of bee, such as certain types of mammals, certain types of birds and insects. So when a species goes extinct, you cannot revive it. It's gone, okay? So why this is so important is because now we have almost 200 species going extinct every day. We have no idea how huge that is. There is a natural extinction rate, but we are now at an extinction rate that is 2,000-fold of the natural extinction rate, and this is human caused. So we are causing that. How can you notice that? For example, you may remember 10 years ago when you were driving on the road with a car, how many insects were hitting the windshield? And nowadays, hardly any. So this is one easy way how we can understand that species are going extinct. A decrease of species on this planet is rapidly increasing. And why this is so important? Well, because all these animals, they provide for the entire network that provides for our survival, for our healthy living. If the bees go extinct, there's no pollination. If there's no pollination, there's no food. There's no food, we also go extinct. So species extinction basically means it's just a question of time till it's our turn. Some scientists talk about 20, 30, 40 years down the road, but this is a certainty. This is a scientific, mathematical certainty that if we continue like this, it's just a question of time, and it won't take very long because we're now having exponential growth in this. It's, for me personally, to be honest, shocking that we don't talk about this more as a society, also as devotees, but as a society of humans in general, because really the ship is sinking and there is no change in view that will turn this around. So how does this relate to Vraja-bhakti? Very simple. In Vraja-bhakti, you have the solution to this because everything starts with consciousness. That's why we say we practice Krishna consciousness. We don't practice Radha Krishna puja or Radha Krishna religion, or this is all part of it. But really at the core of what we practice is Krishna consciousness. Yeah? So this was taken from the Sanskrit term Krishna Bhavan-amrita. Yeah? Krishna Bhavan-amrita. The nectar of Krishna consciousness. Nectar also means medicine. It's the ultimate medicine, not just for us, but for all species, for the entire planet, for nature. Actually, nature is not sick. Yes, actually, the planet is not sick. Our consciousness is sick. That's why we have this exploitative consciousness and we exploit our mother nature, instead of worshipping her. Radha Krishna, they personally, they worship Mother Nature. They personally plant trees in Vrindavan. How? In a very, very beautiful way, very sweet way. They take a sapling, one with dark skin, one with light skin, and they marry them together. They plant them together and they become what's called in Vrindavan a Yugala Vriksha. Yugal Vriksha means they are a tree couplet. And that tree couplet represents, of course, no one else but Radha Krishna, the divine couple. So when they plant, they meditate that let these trees embody our love. Let these trees remind everyone of our divine love, so that everyone can be completely immersed in that divine Krishna consciousness, remembering Radha Krishna and their divine love, transcendental love. So once we realize how deeply connected everything at the core is with Mother Nature and all the species in nature, we cannot hurt any of nature's children. It's just simply not possible. In Vrindavan till today, all the Vrajavasis, they worship the trees, especially the Yugal Vrikshas, especially those tree couplets who have been married by no one else but Radha and Krishna themselves. And of course, their assistants, their servants, etc. To give you just one example, when you will be fortunate to have darshan of Vinod Baba in Varsana, then those who have been there, they remember just outside the Priya Kunj ashram, there is a beautiful Yugal Vriksha. Huge trees, and the trunks are right next to each other, and above they really like embrace each other. They move through each other, and the entire top part looks like one tree, but it's actually two trees embracing each other. It's so beautiful. And of course, it reminds us of the Yugala Murti. Yugala Murti being that form of Radha Krishna. Remember when they stand together and one leg goes over the other of each of them, and they both hold the flute together and they both tilt the head slightly. This pose is called the Yugala Murti. And Srila Swami Prabhupada used to say that this is his favorite deity, or you can say favorite pose of Radha and Krishna, because it shows how they are simultaneously one and different. It highlights the aspect of them being a yugal, being a divine couple. And so these trees in Vrindavan, they embody the divine couple. And when Vinod Baba comes out every day, immediately the first thing he will do when he goes out, he will worship these two trees, this couplet, this tree couplet, as non-different from Radha Krishna. So these are just some aspects how you can understand how this Krishna consciousness is really at the root of a solution of all the ecological problems we are facing. If everyone would be having such a deep, truly deep Krishna consciousness, in the truest sense, they would be also deeply, deeply connected to Mother Earth, and thus would not do anything to hurt any of her children. And even if you go back only 10, 20, maybe 30 years maximum, but even if you go back 10 or 20 years, all the Hindus, they used to, especially the Brahmanas, but also others, they used to always chant one mantra before they even get out from their bed. So this was the first mantra they chant, or at least one of the first mantras they chant throughout the day. And so this is a mantra that is addressed to Bhumi Devi, yeah, to Mother Earth. And in that mantra, you pray to her. And what do you say? You say, "Oh, my dear mother, you're embraced by the ocean. Your mountains are like your breasts. So everything that we see in nature is part of our great mother. And you are no one else but the spouse of Vishnu. You're the wife of Vishnu. Kindly forgive us for placing our feet on your body." And then only they will get out from their bed and put their feet down. And when they put their feet down, usually they will first touch the floor and put some dust on their head. So this is the mood. Yeah, this is really the mood of those coming in this tradition, in this Vedic tradition, that we have an intimate connection with Mother Earth. It's not just that we say once in a year, okay, today is World Environmental Day or Mother Earth Day, and we remember her and we go out in nature, we have some picnic there. No, you have a very, very deep, intimate connection to Mother Earth, and she has with you. So just like Govardhan, when Govardhan in the winter, when Radha Krishna, they walk on Govardhan, Govardhan becomes warm and make sure they don't have cold feet. In the summer, now it's very hot in Vrindavan. Usually the rocks, they become hot. You cannot walk on the rocks anymore. But Govardhan, he becomes very cooling so that Radha and Krishna get some relief from their cold. He provides caves in which they can hide, they can cool down in the shades, and they can engage in their divine pastimes. He provides, all the fruits and flowers and shrubs and creepers for making the beautiful punjas, the garlands, etc. So this is a very, very intimate connection that the devotees have with nature and Mother Earth. And of course, like everything in Radha Krishna Leela, if you compare it to any other Leela of any other form of God, is happening in nature, with nature, through nature, for nature, by nature. It's all completely embedded in nature. And why is this so? Yeah. Why are they not, for example, enjoying their pastime in opulent palaces like in Dwaraka, Mathura, Ayodhya? Why not? Or why are they not lying on a huge soft bed, like Ananta Shesh is creating this wonderful bed for Vishnu, and Lakshmi is there serving his lotus feet? Why not? Why are they not enjoying such huge opulences if they are the most essential form of God? Why not? Why are they roaming around in the forests like poor people, like some gypsies? Why are they playing the pastimes of being a coward boy and a coward girl and having coward boy and coward girl friends and father and mother? That's not even the upper caste in India. First people talk about which caste you're in. Vaishya is the second lowest caste, and but they're enjoying that. They are choosing that which is closer to nature. Yeah, because as a coward boy, coward girl, you have to completely depend on nature. You have a very intimate connection with nature. But we should ask ourselves, why are they doing that? If they are really the supreme rasikas, the supreme relishers of rasa, then there must be a reason why they choose to live in nature. like gypsies or hippies or whatever you want to call it, or nature lovers. You know, in our societies nowadays, people, they hardly depend on nature anymore, so they have to go out and camp and have holidays in nature so they can kind of revive that relationship. But for Radha Krishna, they're always in nature. Every day, Krishna takes out the cows in the morning and comes back in the evening. And most of the very, very confidential pastimes happen in this period, especially in our Gaudiya darshan. Yeah. If you are in Vrindavan and you move to different kathas, because there are wonderful kathas everywhere, then you understand that in different sampradayas, they mostly think that the highest pastimes are the nocturnal pastimes at night, means the Ras Leelas that happen at night, etc., or the Kunja Leelas that happen at night, such as in Nidhivan and Seva Kunj, etc. But in our sampradaya, it is the midday pastimes that are considered the highest. And this is, of course, in Radha Kund. Yeah. So in Radha Kund, it's a completely natural surrounding. Nobody goes there. Only those who herd the cows, some gopas and gopis are there. Everyone else is busy at home. Nanda Baba, Yashoda Ma, they're far away, so that they have more privacy. The jungle of Vrindavan is giving them the kunjas. In the kunjas, they have privacy, but it's not a privacy that depends on castles and guards and opulence. It's a intimacy, a privacy that is provided by Mother Nature herself. Yoga Maya, yeah, she extends into so many forms, and you have special devis, one devi for each season, for example. They are called Ritu Devis. So you have one devi that represents the spring, autumn, fall, winter. You know, like there are 6 seasons in India, and so you have 6 Ritu Devis, and they provide the best possible harmony of seasons in Vrindavan. And you have to understand that this is a divya prakriti. This is divine nature. Okay, there is no limits like in our nature. Nature follows the laws of nature, but in Vrindavan, nature follows prem. The law there is prem. Yeah, Radha Krishna prema, and that prema is, you can say, you know, like shaped or guided or molded or directed by Yogamaya, Purnamasi Devi, the gopis, the sakhis, etc., in collaboration with all the animals and other species such as trees, etc. The birds are messengers, like the green parrots of Vrinda Devi. They see what's happening in Vrindavan and they tell Vrinda Devi what's happening in which kunja, how far away is Krishna from Radharani, etc., etc. What are the obstacles? In this way, we can understand how important it is that we have this deep connection with nature. Because what is so special about Radha Krishna pastimes is that it is the most rasic of all the pastimes of God. It has the most sublime relish of transcendental relationships. And this requires a very deep intimacy. And that intimacy is only possible if you are completely protected from everything else that would influence that relish negatively. So one of the things that negatively influences this Vraja-bhakti is Aishwarya. Okay, so Aishwarya in general means opulence. Particularly, it means in Radha Krishna pastime The remembrance that Radha and Krishna are the supreme God, goddess. You don't want that, because then there's a drop in intimacy. How can you be personal friend or Sakhi or Manjari of someone who you worship as Bhagavan? Not possible. So therefore, this setting is there. Another aspect of Aishwarya is opulence in terms of opulent buildings like castles ornamented with gold and all kind of gemstones and diamonds and whatnot. What do you have to do to make such a palace? You have to cut the trees, you have to clear the space, you have to blow up mountains to take away all the marble, you have to create mines to mine the gemstones in the material nature, of course. In the divine nature, of course, there's different arrangements that these things happen without hingsa. It's purely ahimsa, what we're being told. But practically speaking, opulence always comes along with exploitation of others in the material world. But look at Radha Krishna, how they are living. Yeah? They are mostly, their setting of their divine pastimes is in the kunjas of Braj, where you are in complete harmony with nature, where you want to be away from the cities and the villages. You want to be completely intimate. And this intimacy with nature allows you to have the greatest intimacy with Radha and Krishna also. It's part of it. That's why in some of the kirtans, this is also explained. You know, Prakriti Sundari means beautiful, beautiful nature. Radha and Krishna, they enjoy Prakriti Sundari, they enjoy the beautiful nature together. Why? Because this is a basic ingredient of romance. And Radha Krishna are the supreme enjoyers of romance. Yes? Radha Krishna Prem is the most romantic relationship, the archetype romantic relationship in creation. And for romance, you need to have beautiful nature. And this is very important. Again, I want to highlight this. It's not just that we enjoy nature, but we also serve nature, like Radha Krishna are planting trees. Yeah, the Sakhi Manjaris, they are also planting certain shrubs and creepers and flowers so that they can make beautiful kunjas with beautiful flower arrangements. And Kusum Sarovar, for example, very famous, beautiful Sarovar in Vrindavan, Govardhan. There's a huge garden just around Kusum Sarovar in the eternal pastimes. Now they are trying to also revive that. It's been many years. Hopefully it will be done soon. But in the eternal pastimes, there are many, many, many wonderful gardens there with beautiful flowers, very fragrant flowers for the service of Radha Krishna. So in this way, we can meditate on Radha Krishna's pastimes and remember how they are deeply, deeply connected with Mother Earth, with nature, and how that is important for our personal connection with Radha Krishna, how that is essential, because it's not just a question of a stage. It's a question of the moods, of the bhavas that are very, very particular for Radha Krishna worship, for Vraja-bhakti. So without the nature in Vrindavan, without all these ingredients of Vraja-bhakti, there is no Vraja-bhakti. Vrindavan, the forest of Vrinda. Van means forest. Take away the Van, and there's no more Vrindavan. Yeah. Sadly, this is what's actually happening. There's hardly anything left of the 12 Vans. We are struggling to conserve what is left, and we are struggling to reforest. We are having a nursery right now in Varsana where we're planting trees, saplings. And now the rainy season is approaching. Unfortunately, due to lockdown, it's going to be a little difficult, but we will try to, again, afforest and make sure that the local species especially are planted, because that's another topic. Unfortunately, when people plant trees, they just look at, okay, what is the best size, color, etc. They don't consider what is really the native species that I should plant right here in this environment. And why this is important? Because Radha Krishna, they have their very personal setting. When Krishna is not around, Radharani sees Krishna everywhere. And this is when you reach ecstatic stage of love of God. This is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that you will perceive your Ishtadev everywhere. Spurti is mentioned. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami uses that term, Spurti, that Ishtadev, that most worshipable form of your deity, will manifest everywhere, from everywhere. Everything will remind you of him or her. So Radharani, when Krishna is not there, she sees a tamal tree. Tamal trees have very dark bark skin, almost blackish. But when she sees a tamal tree, she doesn't see the tamal tree. What does she see? She sees Tamal Krishna. She sees Krishna. Yeah. That's why Krishna, one of his name is Tamal Krishna, because Krishna is dark, blackish, just like a Tamal tree. Okay, so it's the Tamal tree is blackish like Krishna, but also Krishna is blackish like a Tamal tree. That's why his name is Tamal Krishna. So Radharani sees Krishna, or thinks she's seeing Krishna, and she's thinking, oh, Krishna, you look just like a Tamal tree. But actually it's a Tamal tree. And Radharani is taking the Tamal tree for Krishna due to her ecstatic love. Yeah. So there are these very special type of local species that are deeply connected with Radha Krishna pastimes, such as the Tamal tree, etc., etc. And that's why it's important that we also plant the right species. And so fortunately, we have a team of experts who know, which species there should be planted in Vrindavan in general, but also particularly in which environment, under which circumstances. If there's a lot of shade, different species apply. If there is more sunshine or more humidity, then different species should be planted. And also ecologically speaking, by the way, why this is so important is because if you plant species that are not local, then you can accommodate biosphere for maybe 20 species or 30 species, the scientists have calculated. But if you plant local species, around 200 species, means birds and insects and other animals can take shelter there and have a place to live, which is a huge difference. It's like almost a factor 10. That's why local species are so important. And that's why it's good if we know what are the local species of Braj, so we can serve better and we can get to know them better and we can remember Radha and Krishna pastimes better. Krishna's lips are compared to the bimba fruit. Now, bimba fruit, nowadays you don't see it much, but it has not just a reddish color, but the red goes slightly into pink. Yeah. So if you know the color of that fruit, then you know the color of Krishna's lips. So this is how everything is embedded in nature. Like nowadays, if we want to conserve the color in a text, what we would do is there is international codes for every shade of color, and we would just insert that code. But first of all, this is boring and it's not rasic. And second of all, it does not give us the connection to nature, to Vrindavan. So what the Goswamis and other poets have been doing is they have described the transcendental qualities, forms of, Radha Krishna with analogies from nature. Yeah. So Krishna has bimba lips, means his lips are of the color of the bimba fruit. Yeah. Krishna has lotus eyes. So how can we imagine that Krishna has lotus eyes? Okay. So when you hold the lotus like this, okay, before it's open, you see the lotus? Now, if it opens, it's like this, okay? But before it opens, it's closed. I think all of you have seen the lotus buds before they open, because oftentimes they will also be used to make garlands, and they are slightly pinkish if it's a pink lotus here on the side, and the rest is a little greenish and little silvery also, a very beautiful color. Now, if you take these buds and you tilt them, now you can see the eyes, okay? Like this. So these are the lotus eyes of Radha Krishna, like this, okay? And in Bharatnatyam, there is a certain mudra, like this or something. I can ask a friend how it goes again, but also sometimes they go like this. Very beautiful. So you can actually see, how the lotus eyes are formed. Okay, thank you. Yes, like this, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And sometimes they also make a move like this, so you can see how they're elongated. And the lotus eyes of Radha Krishna, they go here from the nose almost till the ears. It's very, very beautiful descriptions of the lotus eyes through nature. And then when they open their eyes fully, they are also described as if the lotus, when they fully open like this, you see, then you see their eyebrows and eyelashes, how they open like this, and they gaze at each other with so much astonishment, because every time they look at each other, every time they see each other, it's ever fresh, ever new. Nitya Nava Yovana. They are eternally youthful couple, but at the same time, Nitya Nava Yovana. Nava means new, every time new. And what is new in nature is the new sprouts coming. And when you see, whenever there is rain coming, and right now here, you can see after the rains, the entire forest becomes green. And there's a festival in Vrindavan called Hariyali Tej, and they celebrate the greenness of nature. Of course, Radha Krishna also celebrate. They also enjoy so much. And so this is the nature of Radha Krishna, that they are ever fresh, like evergreen. That's why we call those songs that are never stale, kind of, that they never become boring, we call them evergreens, okay? But even they become boring if you can't listen to them 24/7. But Radha Krishna are such that when they look at each other, every time it's completely new experience, and they're every time amazed. Because amazement is the basic ingredient of rasa, adbhuta. This amazement is one of the most basic ingredients. So every time they look at each other and their lotus eyes open, it's like a fresh, completely fresh opening. For us, when we look in the mirror, for me, I can speak for myself only. When I look in the mirror in the morning and I can hardly see through, and it's not like a beautiful lotus opening, in such amazement. It's like, oh, who is this guy? I don't know him. Still, in hibernation mode. But for them, it's so amazing. Every opening of every eye, every time, is like a beautiful unfolding of a lotus. So how can we relish that? It's not so difficult. Go to nature and look at the lotuses when they open. They open to the sun, yeah, and they open very gracefully, very beautifully. And when you have these experiences in nature and remember Radha Krishna, then you connect everything properly. Then you will remember Radha Krishna and you will be in such bliss that Mother Nature has given you this remembrance, has made this bridge for you, that you will worship Mother Nature in your heart of your hearts eternally for all times. And there is no chance for you to harm anyone in nature. And so this all interrelates. Our experience of Vraja-bhakti brings us closer to nature, or should bring us closer to nature. If not, we're not doing it right. And our coming closer to nature brings us to Radha Krishna. Again, if not, we're not doing it right. There are so many people who go in nature, they're inspired, but they don't become devotees. Because of course you need that devotional approach. Yeah? And that devotional approach can only be given by devotee or by mercy, can come spontaneously as well. Yeah. And many times devotees also, they seem to be lacking a connection to Mother Nature, but it must come. It must come if you really sincerely absorb in Radha Krishna pastimes. Because like last time, or like some webinars ago, we were hearing Radha Kundatata, the kirtan composed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, remember? And he is very beautifully describing how everything in nature in Vrindavan is an uddipaka, is a bridge that reminds us, you know, of Radha Krishna's pastime. It bridges over from our state of consciousness to Vraja-bhakti, Vraja-bhav. And so it's a stimulant of Vraja-bhakti. All these different ingredients, you know, he talks about the trees, the creepers, he talks about Govardhan Hill, Radhakund, Shamakund, all these different manifestations of the divine natures of Vrindavan. They are here to invoke the mood of devotion of Vrindavan. So it's not possible that we become immersed in Vraja-bhakti and not have a very, very deep connection with nature. It's simply not possible. It must come at one time or another. And when it comes, you know it, because you completely fall in love with nature. And wherever you go, doesn't matter which forest you visit, but you will be reminded of Vrindavan, the forest of Vrindavan. Just like Mahaprabhu when he was in Puri, yeah, and he was on the Chatak Parvat, that hill, that little hill near the ocean, where he used to go and chant, he would see Vrindavan. And when he saw the ocean, he would see Yamuna. So it's all a question of your Krishna consciousness. And that consciousness is what we should be cultivating. That Vraja-bhakti is a question of how you see things, not what things you see. Of course, again, if you see nature, it's much more beneficial for Vraja-bhakti than if you're in New York City and don't see trees. Of course, there are beautiful parks there too, but if you just see buildings, it's actually difficult to remember Vrindavan. That's why it's so important that we connect with nature, because it's not just in the consciousness here, it's the direct touch with nature. Unlike the impersonalists, such as the Buddhists, the Mayavadis, other monists, nowadays there is a lot of monistic communities raising across the globes. In the yoga scene, so many different types of monisms are right now in the trend, especially the tantrika monists, they are rising. You have so many impersonal communities flourishing. But if you really aspire to completely eradicate duality, you eradicate also individuality. You eradicate the you and I, the we, the he, the she, the they. You eradicate the diversity in nature, the trees, the creepers, the flowers, the birds. Yeah, everything collapses into this impersonal so-called oneness. And where there is no nature, there is no Vrindavan. Where there is no Vrindavan, there is no Radha Krishna. Yeah. When before Navadvip Dham was manifest, then Krishna was planning to manifest Navadvip Dham, and he requested Radharani to come there. And she said, but how can I go there if there is no Yamuna, if there is no Govardhan? If the entire nature of Vrindavan is not there, I will not go there. So then, Yogamaya had to bring the entire Braj there. Every single aspect of the nature of Vrindavan had to first manifest in Navadvip. And then only Radharani would come. Okay, now Vrindavan is here. Now I will come. Okay, and then of course, Gaur Leela started. Why this is so important is because we have to understand why Radharani is waiting till the entire nature is there. Only then she will go. Because if that beautiful nature of Vrindavan is missing, she cannot make Krishna fully happy. And if she cannot make Krishna fully happy, then that is not Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is where Krishna is fully happy. Yeah? And Krishna can only be fully happy if the entire Braj is there with all the trees, creepers, and birds, etc. Without a peacock, where is the peacock feather on Krishna's crown, etc., etc. Yeah. Radharani has her pet deer. Radha Krishna both have their pet deers. Yeah. One is golden, one is black. Guess whose is how? And everything in Braj dances in complete harmony with Radha Krishna, the entire nature. Yeah, when the peacocks see the clouds coming, they dance in ecstasy, remembering whom? Ghanashyam Krishna, whose effulgence is like the dark blue monsoon clouds. When the peacocks, they see Krishna coming, they dance in ecstasy, mistaking him for the monsoon clouds and dancing, oh, the monsoon cloud is coming, soon there will be rain, and we will get a nice shower, cooling shower and food. So like that, everything in Vrindavan is completely connected to nature and the animals, birds, creepers. Everything there is an integral part of Vrindavan. Integral means you cannot take one out. If you take one thing out, it will not be complete anymore. Yeah, even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, remember in the Radhakunda Tata, where he sings about all the Udipakas, he says, if these Udipakas are no more there, I will give up my life. Can you imagine Braj without Govardhan, without Jamuna, without Radhakund? Impossible. I will give up my life, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Why? Because they are Vrindavan. Without them, Vrindavan is not possible. So what we can learn from this is that we are one with nature. It's not nature and we. Yes, we are one with nature. when little Gopal was telling Nanda Baba, you know, Indra is fine and Indra Puja is fine, but actually, who is providing everything for the cows, for us? That's Giriraj. We should do Govardhan Puja instead. What was he actually doing? Yeah. If you look at this from a historic or academic point of view, then he was going back from worship of devatas to nature worship. It's like one step back in history. And it's completely confusing for people who are attached to worshiping deities. Yes, in the Hindu culture, it can be completely confusing because it seems to be like a step back to nature worship. But if you know the mood of Braj, then you know why worshiping nature, why worshiping Giriraj is so core essential. It's an absolute essential ingredient with which you cannot dispense. You mean you cannot have Vrindavan without that. And that's why he established Govardhan Puja. Yeah? So we're not just worshiping mountains, rocks, okay? Some piece of nature that we find beautiful, we put on an altar and worship. No. By worshiping Govardhan, we worship Braj. Govardhan is non-different from Braj, non-different from Krishna. Govardhan is the very embodiment of Krishna. Krishna says, I am Giriraj. I am nature. You are also nature. We are all part of this, okay? If you cannot make Govardhan happy, you cannot make me happy. So if we cannot make Mother Nature happy by doing what humanity is doing today, we cannot also make Krishna happy because we're all one. Yeah, we're all intimately connected, just like in Vrindavan. So there are so many lessons to take home from Vraja Leela in relationship to ecology, love of Mother Earth, respect of Mother Earth. And today, it's beautiful if we can remember this, and even more beautiful if we can take a resolution. Okay, I will be more in nature. I will take my japa mala and go for a beautiful japa walk, sit under a tree, connect to Mother Earth, like the Goswamis did. Why did the Goswami do their bhajan under the trees? Why? Because there is a magic under the trees. Every tree is a kalpa vriksha. There's so countless stories how the siddhas of Vrindavan, the perfected souls, they got their siddha under the tree. Krishna himself got his siddhi under the tree in Imlitala, under the very same tree where Radharani was given Abhishek and crowned Vrindavaneshwari. Yeah? So everything is completely dependent on that deeper connection with Mother Nature. And if we actually do this ourselves, we can realize it in no time, especially in Vrindavan, but anywhere you are, it doesn't matter. Sit under a tree, see what happens. Speak to the tree, feel the roots, feel how the roots are connecting you to our mother. Don't think this is artificial. Bhumi Mata is one of our 7 main mothers described in our Shastra. She is our mother. She's very intimately connected with Krishna because in Gaur Leela, who is she in Gaur Leela? Bhumi Devi. Remember? Very intimate associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, I will not answer. It's your turn now. You can type it in the chat or say it on the mic if you know. I'll give you some time. This is important. You remember this. If you take home only one thing, then remember this. Who is Bhumi Devi in Gaur Leela? Okay, anybody? Okay, I give you a hint. It's one of his spouses, one of his wives.
Vishnu Priya.
Yes, Vishnu Priya. Yes, thank you, Didi. Yes, very good. Yes, Vishnu Priya is Bhumi Devi coming in Gaur Leela. So, how important is she? Yeah, she is the wife of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, and so on. We can go on and on and on. And so for today, this is a good point I find to complete. And I'm giving you the chance now also to ask questions. If there's any questions or any comments, you can also leave. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Jai Bhumi Mata ki jai, Vishnu Priya Devi ki jai, Vraja-bhumi ki jai, Gora Mandala ki jai.
Okay.
The other concert, you're muted. Meera Didi, you're muted.
Yes. Did very nice, Prabhu. Very nicely you compared and, simultaneously you tell us about the nature and Radha Krishna. Very nice, Prabhu. It's very good.
Coordinate.
A very nice coordination.
Prabhu, I wanted to say, if you will not just say this subject, I will never relate these things like that.
Yes, very true. We never think like this, that this is also a part of our devotion. Na?
Yes,
And
yes.
when you said about this, the tree which in front of Baba's ashram in Barsana, yeah, Baba embraced that tree that too. Every day he comes,
you
he
saw
worship,
him.
he
You saw him.
embraced. Yes, I saw that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So big, huge.
Yes.
But I didn't think before like this,
Yes.
I saw Baba embracing that tree, but I didn't think that. But now it comes to my mind. Yeah, he worshipped that too.
Yes.
And so many trees, when you go to, the Ghevar one, when you go for the Barsana Parikrama,
Yes.
So many trees are like this, which are embracing each other, na?
Yes, because they have been planted by Radha Krishna and their assistants also. They purposely marry the trees. They literally marry them since they are saplings, since they are very, very small. And they take care of them. They water them daily. So the Radha Krishna and their eternal associates are the primordial environmentalists. The most eco-friendly people, the archetype eco-friendly beings.
Very nice, bro. Very nice.
Yeah, I heard that Gurudev also was telling some devotees going parikrama, so they pass urine. So that's why one of the time in Gurudev's dream, they told, Radharani came and told, your devotees are spoiling this. Tell him not to do this. And
Yes.
Gurudev called him. This is not right. This is Chintamani. Vrindavan is full of Chintamani.
Yes.
So don't do that. It is a big offense. Then they corrected him like that. So
Yes. All the trees in Vrindavan, they are kalpa vrikshas. They are wish-fulfilling trees. There's so many countless stories how sadhus have attained siddhi from the tree, by the tree, sitting in the tree, near the tree. Even just recently, there was some road being built in Vrindavan, and they had to cut some trees so that one tree appeared in the dream of one influential person and told him, I need only like one more year to complete my sadhana. Please give me one more year, then I shall go. So they spared that tree. He was an influential person. I don't remember who he was, but he talked to the government. They spared that trees. And after that period has passed, I think it was like a year or so, that tree just dried out and left the body exactly at that time. So like this, there's countless stories like that.
Even Radha Kund, there is no odd shape because Pancha Pandavas are there meditating. So that's why it's like complete.
Yes, right.
Not,
Because of the trees, to save the trees, they changed the way how they made the embankment of Shamakund, correct? Yes.
Yeah, there are Radharani asked Krishna before bringing this, because this Vrindavan is not Amsha. It is directly same Vrindavan he brought. Krishna
Yes.
brought to the land, Prithvi Devi, and
Right.
he told, Radharani told, I want Radhakund. Giriraj Govardhan is very important. That's why.
Yes.
That's why Gopi is called Giriraj Varya. He is completely taken care by all Gopas, Gopis, cows, calves, everything. Mother Nature, completely they take care.
Yes, yes. So I was thinking also it is nice if I can share the mantra with you, because that mantra I was mentioning that the Hindus all over India used to chant before they touch Mother Earth with their feet. So I'm going to chant it once, and maybe I can send it to you later in the group. It's really a beautiful meditation that I myself do every day. I couldn't find this mantra. I heard only from one Brahmana friend that they used to chant it and they forgot it. But then when I was in Naimisharanya, there is one place there where there is one kund, one huge kund. And that kund is supposed to be the navel of Mother Earth, the center of the earth, okay? So when I was there, I was like praying to Mother Earth and remembering her glories. And I was thinking, where would be a better place to recover that mantra than here? So I started to talk to the local Brahmanas. They didn't remember, but they said, yeah, before there was something we used to chant. So then I said, can I talk to your elders? So then they introduced me to one very old Brahmana who was doing his worship there. And he taught me the mantra. So then later on, I also found it on the internet by knowing the mantra. So I'm going to just chant it quickly, and then I can share it with you in the group. It's very beautiful. Okay. Samudre vasate devi parvatasthane mandale Vishnu patni namastubhyam padasparsha kshama swami. Every day, every Hindu used to chant this mantra before getting out from bed. This was the intimacy they had with Mother Earth. Even they're afraid to touch, not afraid, but like they say, sorry, I don't want to put my foot on you. You are my mother. But I'm doing it by chanting, by glorifying you, because anyway, we have to walk on the earth. So it's not a negative thing, but it's just, and nowadays we have this huge eco footprint. I think you may be knowing what it means. Eco footprints means how much pressure we are giving on Mother Earth by our usage of cars, airplanes, plastic, etc., etc. And we don't even think about it, most of us. But before, look at the consciousness. The original Krishna consciousness was also Bhumi consciousness, Mother Earth consciousness. Even to touch her with your feet, you would chant certain mantras. What to speak of giving more trouble. So very, very beautiful, this natural harmonious ecology that used to be flourishing in India. Very sad that nobody even remembers the mantras, what to speak of the consciousness. So we should start again to nourish and that consciousness and make it flourish.
Yeah, before putting the foot from the bed, we should touch the feet, touch the earth, then put on.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, right. And while you do that, you chant this mantra. Yes.
What is the first word of this mantra? Maybe we can find somewhere.
Yes, I will try to find it with the diacritics. I didn't yet find it with the diacritics. Even without diacritics, it doesn't matter. I will just send it to you in the group, okay? And then you can at least, learn it and chant. It's very beautiful meditation. Yeah. And of course, for us, Vraja-bhumi means Bhumi. Bhumi Devi is especially Vraja-bhumi and Gaura-bhumi. Gaura-bhumi means Nadia, Navadvip, Puri, and all the holy places where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set his holy footprints, even, places in South India, everywhere. All these are for us sacred. But in general, Bhumi Mata, the entire planet is sacred. She is one of our 7 mothers, 7 most important mothers. So the entire earth is sacred. There's not one spot that is not sacred. So we have a very intimate relationship with Mother Earth, and we should cherish it and, you know, make others also experience it.
All right, Prabhu, Hare Krishna. I'll leave now.
Yes, Didi, so nice to
Vancha
talk to you again.
kalpataruscha kripa sindhuvya patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Hare
Hari
Krishna.
bol everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare bol.
Prabhu, I wanted to ask you, when you say Bhumi is the wife of Vishnu, just to relate,
Yes.
in my brain, can I relate because the Sandhini energy that Krishna create all the landscapes, whatever he
Yes,
likes?
no, I understand. It's a very good question. Why is Bhumi Devi called Vishnu Patni, the wife of Vishnu, right?
Yes.
Okay, because when Vraja-dev, when he saved Mother Earth, when Mother Earth was drowning in the ocean, and Varaha came, the incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and with his 2 tusks, he lifted up Mother Earth. Yeah. At that time, because Bhumi Devi, she touched Vishnu. And when you lift up someone, it's a very close connection, very intimate connection. So immediately, there was an intimate connection between Bhumi Devi and Varaha. Immediately, they married. Because where there's intimacy in Vedic in Vedic culture, there is marriage. Yeah, whether you plan it or not, intimacy means you are married. So like that, and you can see these beautiful deities. By the way, if you Google also Varaha Bhumi, you can Google Varaha and Bhumi, and you will find beautiful deities sculpted in stone, where you see that Bhumi is not just a globe, but she is a beautiful deity. Yeah, and so they had a child. Who was the child again? I will tell you later. I will find out. They also had a child, and so this is how Bhumi Devi is considered Vishnu Patni, the wife of Lord Vishnu, as per this mantra also.
Yeah, I heard also Vishnu Patni Dhimahi, something that it will come in when you're doing rituals.
Yes.
Some yagna.
Of course, Vishnu Patni is a name of Lakshmi also, and in a sense, the Bhumi Mata is an aspect of Lakshmi, because wealth, nature is also wealth. Without nature, there is no wealth also. Yeah.
Shakti.
Yes, Vishnu Shakti, right.
One thing, who was Vishnu Priya in Krishna Lila? I mean, was one of the queens?
Right. Good question.
Vishnu Priya.
Vishnu
Satyabhama.
Priya, Bhumi Devi, yeah?
Bhumi Devi.
Not Satyabhama.
There is this list. I will consult this list and I will get back to you. Yeah.
And one thing more. I don't know where I heard sometime. There is this trilogy like this: is Bhumi, Nila, and
Neela. Yeah. Bhu, Neela, and one more. Yeah.
One more. What's the connection of these 3?
Bhumi and?
Bhu, Nila, and something else. There's 3.
Oh, Bhulila and okay, Shri, yes.
Yeah, Bhu, Nila, and Shri.
Yes, these are like, you can say, one of the prime Shaktis of Vishnu, prime potencies of Vishnu. And before, even historically speaking, it was Bhu and Shri, I think. Yeah, Bhu and Shri. And Shri is, of course, Lakshmi, or beauty, you know, and Bhu is Bhumi. So there is this very prominent deity of Mahavishnu, or Vishnu in the center, huge Vishnu deity flanked by two small female deities, and they are Bhu and Shri. And for example, Vinod Baba in his Priya Kunj Ashram, he also has Vishnu flanked by Bhu and Shri and worships them every day. So this is a very prominent form of Vishnu, yeah, where he is actually flanked by Bhumi on one side. Yeah.
So there is Vishnu and Bhu one side and Shri.
Yes, that is the most common form. Yes, Bhu and
Vishnu
Shri.
with four arms.
Yes, Vishnu with 4 arms, and Bhu and Shri are on his side. Yes, correct.
There are two goddess.
Yes.
And Nila, what's Nila?
Sorry? Leela. Leela is the Leela Shakti, the Shakti to manifest the pastimes of the Lord.
Oh, so Sandini, is Sandini?
Ladini, I think.
Oh, Ladini.
Oh, Sandini. Wait, yeah, I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Yes, Sandini, Samvid, Haladini. I think Haladini, Shakti.
Yes, yes, right.
Okay.
Yes. So even you know, in the deities, you can see in the early deities that Vishnu is flanked by Bhumi. That's also a way how you can, you know, see in the deities how Bhumi is Vishnu Patni.
Vishnu Patni Shadi.
So I will
Krishna,
send you the mantra. Huh? Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji in South. Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji in South India also, mainly in Tirupati Balaji temple.
Yes.
They worship Lord Venkatesh with Bhu and Srila both.
Yes, right. Mm-hmm. It's
Yes,
very
Prabhu.
prominent in South India. I've seen it in many places.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Any more comments or questions?
The conception of intimacy that the marriage is so amazing, because when you talk about the trees and all the stimulus, the udipas, so somebody like in Vraj, everyone is enlightened, but all the udipas, like there are intimacy with all the stimulus there. The conception is so incredible. It's not like the mundane conception of between men and women. That's this conception. It was amazing to hear this.
Nature is our mother in every sense. Every sense, in every sense. She can give you everything. Just like Vraja-bhumi, that even one dust particle of Braj can give you everything. What to speak of Vrindavan? So everything in nature, if you have deep connection, she can open your eyes to everything. There's no doubt about that. Yes.
Yeah, I also heard that Gurudev is always explaining now actual Vrindavan is covered by Maya. That's why we're seeing so many other things, no? Like a normal material thing. It is not. Actual Vrindavan, those who are Siddha Purusha, they can see real Vrindavan, even today in Vrindavan.
Yes. Right.
Can't see. We need a Premanjana Churita, Premanjan. It's a pure Vaishnava give a vision, then we can see real Vrindavan. So we're not qualified, so that's why Maya is covered.
Yes, and you know, this crying, this lowliam, which is so important for us to be able to get this vision, It is like a trigger for that. And for example, if you read Devadas, a beautiful little book written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that's not so famous, but he speaks of this normal householder person who just realizes one day that, hey, I've wasted my time, my whole life I've not worshipped the Lord, and he's suddenly craving, he has deep yearning, deep lowlium to realize the Lord. He quits his house, he sits under a tree in nature, and he starts to cry and begs the Lord. And then under that tree, things start to manifest in his heart. He has transformation. So wherever you are, you're connected through nature, Paramatma, God. You know, there is no boundaries as such as we perceive them. There's a big illusion of segregation, that we are separate from nature. We can survive without nature. We can attain anything, including Vraja-bhakti, without nature. It's a big illusion. And once we shed that illusion, we realize we don't just depend on her. We interrelate. We're interconnected. We're like, in one sense, one big organism, and it's full of different rasas. And without her, it's impossible to taste those rasas. Absolutely impossible, especially without her aspect of Vrajabhumi. Yes.
Yes.
Good. So I think for today we will conclude, and if you want, we can continue next time. It's a beautiful topic.
No, because
Okay. Hello, Prabhuji.
Oh, it's no.
Okay, so over here the Wi-Fi is crashing down, so we conclude here, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you again next week. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, have a great time, and do connect with Mother Nature, especially today. Remember Vrindavan Dham, Gaura Bhumi. Yes.
yes, go.
Hare Krishna, Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhyo cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Bhumi Mata
Hare
ki
Krishna,
jai,
Prabhuji.
Vrindavan Dham ki
Jai,
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 Gauravan ki
jai,
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 Samagara Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, अपने अपने गुरु महाराज
jai,
की जय.
jai.